Hey guys, thanks for watching. Today we'll be making every outdoorsman's favourite snack, beef jerky. I just picked up some beef from the supermarket, two for the price of one, pound and a half of beef for about $7, which is awesome. The reason why I like to make beef jerky myself is because if you buy it pre-made in the supermarket, you either pay a lot of money for a little bit of the good stuff or not so much money for a lot of the not so good stuff. So we're going to make sure it's affordable, it's delicious, and it's easy to make, and you make it in the quantity that you like. Beef jerky is awesome for whenever you go fishing or hunting or whatever, traveling, because it's full of protein, it doesn't spoil, and it's really good to eat. So let's see how we go. Alright, first of all, the stuff that we need to make the beef jerky. Get yourself a nice tub, whether that's glass or Tupperware. Doesn't really matter a whole lot as long as it seals off properly, because we're going to give it a shake for the marinade and we don't want to have the marinade spilling everywhere. Obviously your beef. This stuff is called bottom round steak thin. This is all pre-cut. It's about, well, be about 1/4 of an inch thick. It's perfect. Then the base of the marinade is going to be soy sauce. Gonna have some peppercorns in there. I like to have some chili flakes on there, and for the smoky flavor we've got some smoked paprika. Now I also like to add a little ingredient that you might think is a bit odd, but I like to have some Dr. Pepper in there. It's nice and sugary, and it's going to give a really nice sweet flavor. So that's going to be it. That's going to be the 5-6 ingredients, and we're ready to make the marinade. So first of all, we usually start off with the soy sauce. Just going to pour that in there. It's not going to be an exact science. It's just going to be, you know, whatever looks good. We're going to give it a quick taste before we marinate the beef in there as well, so it's going to be easy enough. Alright, so that'll do for now. It also depends obviously on how spicy or how salty you like your beef jerky, so you know, just taste test it before you marinate the beef and you're good to go. I like to put some Dr. Pepper in there. Nice and sweet, nice and sugary. There we go. We're going to have some peppercorns in there. I'm not going to put a whole lot in, simply because before we put the beef in the oven after marinating, we're going to put some more pepper on there. Some chili flakes, same as the peppercorn. We'll probably put some more on there, but it's good to have it in the marinade just for the flavor. And of course the smoked paprika. Now don't overdo this too much, it can be quite strong. Simple. That would be it. Give it a quick stir with a fork or a spoon, which I'll be doing. Oh, that's fizzing nicely. Alright. Now that's all stirred up, we're ready to put the beef in there. What I do like to do is, before we just dump everything in there, is make sure, I'll take my ring off here, that every strip of beef has got a nice coating on it. So we'll do that. We'll dip it in really well. That's number one. Number two. Alright, that's looking good. Number three. Now you can you can actually cut these strips into thinner strips, or round them off if you like. But you know, I like these the way they are. They're gonna shrink when they're drying anyway in the oven, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. Alright, next packet. This is really nice and thin stuff. What you do want to keep an eye on is to see if all the cuts are made as thin as the other, because obviously during the drying in the oven it's actually needs less time if the cuts are thinner. So alright, that's looking good. I think we'll be here. This tub is perfect size for the amount of beef and marinade that we have here, so that's good. And the last one. Perfect. That's how we do it. Alright, that's that. So, what we're going to do is put the lid on. I'll quickly wash my hands here. Put the lid on. Make sure it's nice and sealed. Give it a quick shake. Alright, well, that's ready to be popped into the fridge, and you can either marinate it for as long as you like, but at a minimum of 4 to 5 hours. 12 hours is great, and 24 hours is perfect, so depends on how much time you want to spend on that. This is quite thin marinade, doesn't really stick to the meat, so I'd like to marinate mine for 24 hours and go from there. Alright, so I'll see you guys tomorrow and see how the marinade turned out. Alright guys, we've waited roughly 24 hours. The marinating process has done its job. So, you know, if all looks good, we should have some pretty nice looking marinated beef slices in here. Oh, that looks good. Alright, that smells delicious too. You know, make sure you wash your hands. And that looks ready to roll. So, you know, it's not a bad idea to inspect the beef before you put it into the oven. So what we're going to do first is, this beef is really cold because it's been in the fridge, obviously. Now before we put it in the oven, I want it to kind of get to room temperature so it doesn't get shocked by there's not going to be extreme heat in the oven, but I want to make sure that it's going to be room temperature before we put it in. So we'll lay it out on this strip over here. Make sure you got some nice cover underneath there so the marinade doesn't go everywhere. And we'll just put the strips out onto the grill plate. These look fantastic. Can't wait for this to be done. Now, also another reason why I do this, you know, it's really a double function here, is just so the marinade can drip off. When you do it straight out of the marinade, there's still a fair bit of well, fluid on the meat and doesn't actually give you that dry texture that beef jerky should have. So this also helps with getting rid of the excess marinade a little bit. Make sure that the pieces don't touch. I might have to rearrange it here a little bit so everything fits on. It's not a bad idea to make the meat hang through. It saves you a bit of space. As long as the meat doesn't touch, you're good to go. So. Alright, that's ready. The best thing you can do is put a fan on it. That actually helps with the drying part. But laying it out, making sure that it's covered up with a bit of saran wrap, that works fine. So we'll get back to you when we've got the oven ready. This has been out for about an hour, half an hour, whatever it takes to get it to the right temperature for the meat. And we'll catch you back soon. Now, before we're going to put the beef in the oven, as I stated before, we're going to put some additional seasoning on there. The chili and the peppercorn that we put in the marinade, we're going to put some more on there because it tends to wash off, you know, when you take the beef out of the marinade. So we'll put a little bit more on there. Alright, so just a quick oven setup. The beef is now in the oven. We've got a little mat underneath to prevent any dripping onto the heating element on the bottom. Here's a little trick I like to do. I have a rack with a plate on top of it that prevents any direct heat from getting to the meat. I rather want to have hot air coming past the beef itself rather than actually directly heating it. And that's about it. You put the oven on the lowest temperature that you can do, and go from there. Keep a good eye on it, and when you close the door, make sure you leave a little gap. Put the fan on, and we're rolling. Alright, time to have a look at the jerky. It smells fantastic. We're about halfway through. I've left the door on a gap just so air can circulate in the oven. That's the proper way to dry out the beef in the oven. Obviously a dehydrator is a lot better, but you know, any simple oven can do that trick as well. So it's good to keep an eye out on the jerky. You don't want your jerky to overheat and actually cook or bake. That's not dehydrating it. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. I think it's still fairly flexible, so definitely still needs a couple of hours. When it's all done, I'll give you the exact time and go from there. Alright, so beef jerky's done and out of the oven. Now for the final trick, we need a Ziploc bag, and we'll be putting all the beef jerky in the bag and then put it in the freezer for about half an hour, and after that we'll do the taste test, so we'll be right back with ya. Alright guys, moment of truth. I just took the bag out of the freezer. It was in there for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and it's just a little trick that I do at the end just to get the texture right. So let's see what we got here. Oh, that looks good. That looks really, really good. Check that out. That's fantastic. That's exactly what we're looking for. Not too chewy and also fairly crispy. So that's the perfect beef jerky consistency. Fantastic. Now we'll give it a quick taste test. Oh, that's very good. Very, very good. Nice and spicy. You can really taste all the flavors of all the ingredients that we put in. That's perfect. So that's a nice and simple way of making beef jerky with a handful of ingredients, pre-cut cheap beef from the supermarket, and an oven. You don't necessarily need a dehydrator. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I make this batch for a fishing trip, but I reckon I might have to make another one because this is too good, and that won't last for more than 2 days. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's any questions, let us know, and please subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.